You're about to board a plane, and you think you know what to expect. But what if I told you that almost everything you've been doing on flights has been wrong? These aren't just random tips. These are secrets that could literally save your life, protect your health, and change how you fly forever. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at air travel the same way again. Let's start with something you've seen 100 times but never actually understood. Those oxygen masks that drop from the ceiling. You've been told they'll keep you safe, and technically that's true. But here's what they don't mention in those safety demonstrations. Those masks only give you 12 to 15 minutes of oxygen. That's it. 12 minutes between you and unconsciousness. Now, airlines will say that's plenty of time for the pilot to descend to a breathable altitude, and usually they're right. But here's the thing nobody talks about. In those 12 minutes, you can't waste a single second. Hypoxia, which is oxygen deprivation, doesn't feel like suffocating. You don't gasp for air. Instead, you feel drunk, euphoric even, and then you pass out without realizing anything is wrong. Flight attendants are trained to recognize this. But passengers, most people would spend precious seconds recording it for social media or trying to help others first, and that delay could be fatal. There have been incidents, ones that didn't make major headlines, where passengers hesitated and lost consciousness before securing their masks. The people who survived, they grabbed that mask instantly, no questions asked. But that's just the beginning. Because what you're drinking on that flight might be even more dangerous than a sudden loss of cabin pressure. Flight attendants have a rule that most passengers have never heard about. Never, and I mean never, drink the coffee or tea on a plane. Sounds dramatic, right? But here's why they're dead serious about it. That water doesn't come from bottles. It comes from holding tanks on the aircraft, and those tanks are rarely cleaned the way you'd hope. The EPA has done studies on this, and what they found was genuinely disturbing. High levels of coliform bacteria, which is the same stuff found in fecal matter, were detected in water samples from major airlines. Some airlines scored better than others, but the fact that any of them had contamination issues is bad enough. Flight crews know this. They've seen the inside of those tanks. They've heard the stories. That's why you'll notice experienced attendants bringing their own water bottles on board. They're not being picky. They're protecting themselves. And after a 2019 lawsuit where passengers got seriously ill from onboard water, airlines quietly tightened some protocols. But the problem hasn't gone away. The tanks still don't get sanitized as often as they should, and the water's sitting in those lines for hours between flights. I don't know about you, but that's not something that I want in my system. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever gotten sick after a flight or noticed something off about the coffee or water on board? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could help protect another traveler. Now let's talk about something you probably do on every single flight without thinking twice. Using the bathroom seems simple enough, right? But timing is everything, and most people get it completely wrong. Right after boarding, that bathroom might look clean and ready, but here's what actually happens. Between flights, cleaning crews have maybe 5 to 10 minutes to service the entire plane, and the bathroom is low on the priority list. They do a quick wipe down of surfaces, maybe refill the soap, and that's about it. It's not deep cleaned, it's barely surface cleaned. Then you've got the other extreme, right before landing, when that bathroom has been used by hundreds of people and looks like a disaster zone. The absolute worst time to go. But here's the kicker. Even mid-flight, when it seems less busy, those surfaces are still crawling with bacteria. Studies have found that the flush button, the one thing everyone touches, has fewer germs than the door lock, the sink handle, and especially the floor. That floor has seen things you don't want to imagine. Spills, dirty shoes, and yes, worse. Flight attendants will tell you horror stories about what passengers have done in the bathroom, and it's enough to make you want to hold it for the entire flight. If you absolutely have to go, bring your own sanitizer. Don't touch anything with your bare hands, and for the love of everything, keep your shoes on. Speaking of touching things, let me tell you about the single germiest spot on the entire airplane. And it's not what you think. It's not the bathroom. It's not the armrest. It's that little tray table right in front of you. You know, the one you eat off of, rest your phone on, maybe even take a nap against. Yeah, that one. It's disgusting. A microbiologist actually swapped tray tables on different flights and compared the results to other surfaces. And what they found was shocking. Tray tables had 8 times more bacteria per square inch than the toilet flush button. 8 times. Let that sink in. You're eating your meal off a surface that's dirtier than a bathroom, and it gets worse. Flight attendants have confessed online that those trays are almost never properly sanitized between flights. The same cloth used to wipe down 5 or 6 seat areas gets dragged across your tray, smearing more germs than it removes. Passengers have been caught changing diapers on them, letting their kids stand on them with dirty shoes, even using them as a surface for nail clipping. I wish I was making this up. There was a viral video a couple years back showing someone doing exactly that. Airlines responded with vague promises about enhanced cleaning, but crew members say nothing really changed. The solution: wipe it down yourself with disinfectant wipes before you use it, or better yet, avoid using it altogether if you can. Here's another mistake people make constantly, and it's one that flight attendants beg you not to do: taking off your shoes during the flight. I get it. You want to be comfortable, especially on a long haul, but walking around that cabin in socks or bare feet is one of the worst decisions you can make. That carpet might look fine, but it's a biohazard waiting to happen. It gets vacuumed, sure, but it's not shampooed or deep cleaned nearly as often as it should be. Spilled drinks, dropped food, and yes, biological fluids all get ground into that fabric, and a quick vacuum doesn't remove the bacteria. Flight attendants have shared stories about passengers vomiting, kids having accidents, and adults spilling who knows what, and it all just gets wiped up and left to dry. You're walking through all of that in your socks. But beyond the gross factor, there's a real safety issue here. If there's an emergency evacuation, you need to move fast, and you might be running across hot metal, broken glass, or rough pavement. People have been seriously injured during evacuations because they weren't wearing shoes. And even if there's no emergency, turbulence can hit without warning, and you don't want to be stumbling around barefoot trying to get back to your seat. Keep your shoes on. Your feet and your health will thank you. And this is a good reminder that flying can take more out of our bodies than we realize, especially as we get older. I used to just push through trips and accept feeling drained, stiff, or anxious afterward. Now I prepare a little differently. I follow a simple daily routine that helps me feel calmer, more steady, and more energized when I travel. If that sounds helpful, I've shared it in the first link in the description. Now let's talk about something that affects every single person on that plane, whether they realize it or not. Cabin pressure. You've probably heard that the air inside a plane is pressurized, but what they don't tell you is what that actually means for your body. When you're cruising at 35,000 feet, the cabin is pressurized to simulate an altitude of 6,000 to 8,000 feet. That's like standing on top of a mountain. Your body has to work harder to get oxygen into your blood, and that's why people feel tired, get headaches, or feel lightheaded during flights. But it goes deeper than that. The lower air pressure causes the gas in your body to expand by up to 25%. That's why you feel bloated, gassy, and uncomfortable, especially after eating. It's also why your feet and ankles swell up like balloons on long flights. That's fluid retention caused by reduced circulation and pressure changes. But here's what airlines really don't want you thinking about. That reduced oxygen level can be dangerous for people with certain health conditions. Heart problems, respiratory issues, even severe anemia can become life-threatening at altitude. There have been cases where passengers went into cardiac arrest mid-flight because their body couldn't handle the strain, and the airline never warned them. Doctors say that if you have a serious medical condition, you should get cleared by a physician before flying, but most people don't even know that's a thing. The other issue, dehydration. The air in the cabin has less than 20% humidity, which is drier than most desserts. You're losing moisture with every breath, and if you're drinking alcohol, which dehydrates you even more, you're setting yourself up for a brutal landing. Flight attendants know this. That's why they're constantly drinking water and why they'll tell you to do the same. Here's something you've probably never noticed, but once you know about it, you'll see it on every flight. Flight attendants have an entire language of secret codes and signals that they use to communicate without alarming passengers. Those dings and chimes you hear throughout the flight, they're not random. Each one means something specific. One ding might mean the pilots need something. 2 dings could signal that it's safe to move around. 3 dings, that's often a code for turbulence ahead or a security concern. Flight attendants also use hand signals and specific phrases to alert each other to problems without causing panic. If you see a crew member suddenly straighten up, make eye contact with another attendant, and touch their tie or scarf, that's a signal. If they use the word red in a sentence that doesn't seem to need it, that's a code for a medical emergency. There are also codes for unruly passengers, potential threats, and even mechanical issues. The reason they do this is simple. Panic spreads fast on a plane, and once people start freaking out, the situation gets 100 times worse. But here's the thing. If you know what to look for, you can tell when something's wrong before they announce it. If the crew suddenly stops service and starts whispering to each other, if they start securing the galleys earlier than usual, or if they're all standing in the aisle scanning the cabin, something's up. And if you ever hear the phrase Operation Rising Sun or see crew members moving quickly toward the cockpit, that's an indication of a serious security threat. Let's end with a question nobody wants to ask but everyone thinks about. If something goes catastrophically wrong, where's the safest place to sit? Airlines will tell you that every seat is equally safe, and technically, modern planes are built to protect passengers no matter where they're sitting. But crash investigators have looked at the data, and there is a pattern. Seats in the rear of the aircraft, particularly middle seats near the back, have shown slightly higher survival rates in accidents. The tail section tends to break away on impact, which sounds bad, but it often means less fire exposure and easier evacuation. Seats over the wings are structurally the strongest part of the plane, so they hold up better in a crash, but they're also farther from exits. The front of the plane is usually first class, which means you're closer to an exit, but you're also more likely to take the brunt of a head-on collision. Does this mean you should only fly in the back? Not necessarily. The odds of being in a plane crash are astronomically low. You're more likely to be struck by lightning twice. But if you're someone who worries about these things, booking a seat near an emergency exit in the rear half of the plane gives you the statistically best shot. And here's a tip that actually matters no matter where you sit. Count the rows between your seat and the nearest exit. In an emergency, the cabin fills with smoke, and you won't be able to see. If you've counted the rows, you can feel your way to the exit in complete darkness. Flight attendants do this on every flight. You should too. Flying doesn't have to be a gamble with your health and safety. Now you know what's really happening behind the scenes, and you can make smarter choices the next time you step on a plane. From avoiding that disgusting tray table to understanding what those cabin chimes really mean. These secrets give you an edge that most passengers will never have. If this video just changed the way you think about flying, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insider knowledge that could genuinely make a difference. Safe travels, and remember, the more you know, the better you fly.